Well, if the thumbnail didn't say it all, pretty much, I'm about to tell you what we're going to be doing. So, without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get started on that. Alright, so what we're exactly that's going to happen if, like I say, the thumbnail didn't say it, we're going to be taking this engine, this McCulloch 91, I think that's what it is, a 91, just a regular stock 91, and we're going to put it inside this D36 body. Now, some people are going to be like, why are you tearing that perfectly good D36 up to put this engine in? Now, I have a video on this, getting it back to life, but it has a bad air leak somewhere, and it's just, it's got a lot of loose ends on it. They're just not exactly my most desirable saw to own and everything. I got a D30 that is the exact same thing. The 36 was just a full wrap, which this one doesn't have, and a round muffler. That's the only differences I've ever seen between them. This one's got the wrong flywheel on it. These flywheels were used with that have the starter gear teeth on it and everything, were used on other types of models later on. And but the reason I'm going to go with this specific one versus other types like a 250 body and whatever is because I'm going to be running this carburetor and this intake exactly as you see it. And on those later ones, the oil tanks were mounted right here where the starter assembly is. And I don't want to relocate an oil tank, which these ones just so happily, conveniently have the oil and the fuel tank mounted right up front. So it's literally, you're taking the rear handle, you're going to have to cut it to modify it to bolt onto the back here. You're taking that, cutting it, bolting it on, putting the lower brace on the bottom of this, and cramming this right on here, right in front onto the engine, and you've pretty much got it. That's it. That's, in simple terms, how to put a Kart engine inside of a chainsaw on one of these, how simple. So I want to be able to use this Kart engine more, and there's a video on that running and everything, and as you see, it's got duct tape on the bottom. It's got a broken shroud right here and stuff, and the carburetor also has seen better days, but I've got a shroud. Oh, I said I was going to use my microphone too. And I've got a good carburetor that I might swap the guts over from inside that one, the good guts, into this one right here. So, I can't use the microphone yet because I don't got my extension on the back. So we'll have to live with this one. But I want to be able to put a velocity stack on it and a filter. So probably 3D print, design 3D print a spacer that goes up, and then a filter that can slip over all this and everything so that it'll still have the velocity stack features with the filter, but that's getting a little ahead. So we know this is a good body. I know the tank is good inside the D36. It is super, super clean. So it didn't get used much, but a previous owner had, I don't know what he tried to do or whatever with it, but I replaced the points, stuff, got it running and everything, so. And then this one, we know it runs. So we've got a good running engine and going inside of a really good body. So without further ado, we're going to try to, this might be a short video series here, just kind of, the first thing we're going to have to do is tear the good off of this, and then take off the stuff and that this isn't going to need, replace what it needs, and then mount it up to it. So let's go ahead, let's get that started. All right, first thing we're going to do, set up the impact here real quick. You can get these nut drivers to fit inside these holes. I've had to take this to a bench grinder to thin the wall out. And of course, these holes are packed with a bunch of crud. It's a really clean body, so, well, at least when it comes to scratches. It looks like it's running its original 404 sprocket, potentially 404, we can hope. I will have to get a clutch for this, but we're just going to get the basics down right now. So we know the 91 ran. So now we got to see if we can run it with a body. Oh, look at that, see? And we're going to be reusing all this hardware. We're not going to be doing anything too new. This is the oil tank that will be coming off first. Just simplicity right here, just pump, pump, and these pump a lot of oil. There we go. Some are in there a little tough. And also the full wrap too will have to come off. So, all that hardware sits aside. Don't think, is it? Probably. I think it is. No, it's attached to the gas tank, so. Alright. Or did I forget one? Did I? No? It was coming apart there. Go ahead and get that off here. Lightly tapped off. And that exposes your fuel tank. And like I said, it was super clean on the inside. Excellent get fuel line, everything. No corrosion whatsoever going on the inside of this whatsoever. So that's a factory everything going on there. So perfect candidate for this swap. Then we got to undo the 4 bolts that hold that to the block. And then we'll be set for that right there. And I don't actually think we have to take the full wrap off. It can sit pretty right there because it's just attached right to it. So we'll go ahead, we'll get those off here real quick. I think this is the size problem. And they've got seals on them, and I'm going to try to reuse these seals if they survive. They've got like O-rings on them. And they're in really, really excellent shape, everything here. So this saw was used very little in its lifetime. Probably one of those one job and try to save this gasket right here. I mean, it had a slight peel off, but it's nothing that I can't clean up this surface and then slap a little bit of the sealings compound on it. So all that came out nice. Those seals right there are in perfect shape. So, and there it is. And now this is where a little bit of education is going to happen here real quick for you guys and everything. So real quick, the D30 and D36s were made to scavenge their oil. Were made to scavenge oil from the factory from the fuel mixture. You were supposed to run a 10-to-1 inside of these. And what it would do, the extra oil from the two-stroke, the SAE 30 at the time, I should say, would be pumped up and into, pumped up through and out from the pulse and the crankcase to lubricate the bar. Horrible, horrible idea. Fell through, terrible. They put a recall. And a lot of them got this oil pump put on the front of it. Now, if you find one without, it didn't make the recall. If you find it with, it got the recall put on it. So it was a very quick design thing on these. And we can see this one is in excellent shape. It's dirty. I mean, I can see a lot of wood inside here. I mean, she ingested a lot of wood chips. So I don't know if that come from the bar, reversing its direction of flow or whatnot. I couldn't tell you, but there is inside of here a lot of wood. And here's your filter for like the scavenging and everything right here. And somehow that is supposed to just sit down inside there all tuckered and not get sucked up into the engine. Like literally it just sat there. I pulled that up. So, but that is the filter that goes in there to filter out the oil. And this thing looks like it just did not, somebody had ran it without a filter on it. So I'm kind of surprised it really even ran. Yeah. So this thing was sucking up something, but really good engine. Not much power though. That's just not much. but it did the job. It was enough to do the job back in the day. So this engine, I'm not going to scrap it or anything. We may, I don't know what we're going to do with it yet. But we'll go ahead and we'll get the rest of the stuff we need off of this off. I'll get the bottom here, and then we'll get the top, and we'll pretty much just be down to the bare necessities for this. This might be just one video series. Yeah, she sat on concrete or something for a while. This is what happens when they sit in high moisture. Magnesium rot. So, ooh, looks like it may have also had an auto oiler at one time. I know the 150s had those, but this is a D36. It says it on the block, so really good shape. We'll figure out what to do with it. So, all right, I'll go ahead, pop these off real quick, and maybe put a hyperlapse for you real quick on that, and we'll go from there. All right, real quick. So, for those that do not know, the D30 and the D36 came with a center starter setup, and it is unique to them. And I'm trying to figure out how to get this top part off here. I gotta gut this thing, and I've never had to do this part before, so I think I gotta gut this and something like that. Kind of hate to do this. I don't know. I've never had to tear this apart before, but. Anyways, it's a center starter. It takes what is called 3 hands to start it. You got to have prime the choke, hold the choke in. It's spring. So you got the choke, you got to hold it full throttle, you got to hold it down and then pull. So it was not a good idea. So what it is it's kind of like a gear reduction starter setup almost. To make it easier to pull over. But it has this like nylon plastic gear, and over time they degrade. So when you turn it over, this retracts out and starts it. And it's slower, and it's a pain in the butt to change the rope on. So I got to split this setup right here, take it out, and I'm told rewinding it and everything's a pain in the butt. But, you know, it is what it is. The coil on this, it was back in the last video, I don't know what a guy was doing. He replaced it with something, and it was wobbly in there, and I zip tied it on, and it worked. It did long enough to run, but so back to tearing this back off here and get this cover off, and then we'll continue on from there. Okay, so screw, another screw underneath, and real quick. Oh my gosh, there's like springs everywhere. How do you take this apart? Okay, so we've got a really huge goober spring set up here. I can't even fathom this. This is... Who designed this? How... What? Whatever. Just come apart. There we go. So we've got some weird spring setup that goes into this setup over here, and then it goes into here, and... What were you thinking? What is this stuff? I gotta figure out how to get stuff apart here, do I? I just want to get this cover off, and it doesn't look like it's attached. So, this is the headache of a setup that this is. You know, putting a new string on and recoiling it. It's a nightmare at best. And I gotta get this other one off here, and it looks like I'm going to have to take almost the side cover of the engine off. I really don't want to do that, do I? Who thought of this? Well, gee williker. I wonder if I've got another top cover like that. I think I got a saw outside with one I can rob. Hold on, let me think this over for a little bit. Okay, so I might be able to get away with slowly getting this bolt out here. Oop, I felt those are good. So it was just a pin that was holding that all together, and there's a bush in here. But anyways, so I might be able to avoid pulling this whole flywheel and side cover assembly off. I really don't want to go that far. And I could just get a wrench in there, and as I'm rotating this bolt off here, I can lift up on the assembly. So I'll have to get this other one off first, and then I can try to, no, lift this assembly. I don't know. I don't know, because I can't lift because I only got so much height here. So I don't know how far the screw will allow me to go up here. Oh, man. So this is a nightmare of a design right here. Absolute nightmare. I can see why this did not last long. This was terrible, 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 terrible. I'm gonna call it terrible. So, all right, we'll go ahead. I'll get this ripped off. All right, so I'm thinking for a minute here because this screw is not going to come out that easy with this in the way. So, but because I'm going to be cutting this front part off probably about to here, and this whole intake is going to be gone, I just decided to break that ear real quick. Just pull it, put a screwdriver and click, break it off. So now we've got this assembly here. Like I say, it's just going to be cut off to a certain extent and put onto the other saw and everything. And the back two bolts here are what's going to hold onto the other one on the intake. So I think we've robbed everything we need off of this one. Now, this one isn't just going to go into a trash. It's got good parts on it and everything, except for that muffler. It's boogered together really, really bad. Like, that's terrible. So, but, and everything could be a future, you know, port, modify, saw. I don't know. It's got a good plate here, actually. So that might be useful a little bit later on. I think I might actually have the future saw for this and everything, if it fits. So, and since that's such a small gap right there, that'll make it better for me. So this is a good part saw, coil, everything is good and reusable on that for other saw projects, and will be. So now we have gotten everything we need off of this. I'll have to do off camera and everything, do some cutting of this and everything and whatnot, and do some measuring and everything of what needs cut out and everything. I probably can just cut this straight across from here, leaving this bolt hole, and then I'll drill a new hole right here because there's one for the intake on the 91 here, right there, because the camera doesn't focus where you want. So that's where that will go. But so we've got the body tore off. Like I say, I got to get this cut, and then that'll make it really easy just to really bolt everything onto the other setup here. So, and that, look at that. Ain't that beautiful? That is just beautiful. Flying Goose, 1959 to 1960, I think it was. So that is, yeah, that's just brass mesh right there. That's just folded up as a filter and set inside the engine. I'm not feel very safe having that inside the engine. I don't know what they were thinking on that. That is just, maybe there's something more to it I'm not understanding or willing to look into further. But that's not a good idea. But not having a D30 service manual on hand either, I can't really say for sure what all. So, all right, saving all hardware here. You were part of the top side cover, but so we've got all the hardware being saved, set to the side and stuff like that. And we'll go, let's see here. I've been inside the 91 before and it looked fantastic. The side cover will have to be replaced and everything. So I guess what we can do is wrap up this one little series right here real quick of just tearing it down and getting all the necessary parts we need. We'll go ahead and put them up here real quick, so anybody for future, you want to do something like this, pretty fun, just chops on across from there. And that'll cut off the entire intake setup and whatnot. So we've got the rear handle, the bottom brace. We've got our fuel tank, which all this I'll clean up. Our fuel line attaches right here. We will probably be replacing that. So we've got a good fuel tank, full half wrap, which you can put a full wrap on it. And it's hard to see. you can still see a part number, really big, like 355. Nothing there. Maybe SS? I don't know. No, that's just that. 355. And then 2024T. So, yeah, there's like a 1 and a 0. They're everywhere. And your front pump oil tank. So, that is the basic kit on swapping over to a Kart engine using a D30, D36 setup. Making one cut. You could use a hacksaw, a chop saw, whatever. And everything. But that's as far as we're going to go for right now on this. You guys like this? You want to see more of this? Subscribe, like, comment, ring the bell. And like I say, we're going to Kart engine all the Maxalls. Try to, at least. I'd like to do 30 series, 20 series, all those smaller ones. Get your hands on it, but those are tough to find. But come on, what's life without a modified saw? Having a little bit of fun. So say thanks for watching, and check me out on Instagram, Mr_Mac_Gray. I'll probably put a link in the description if I remember. And till then, thanks for watching.